What do you imagine when you hear about Romanian mythology? Do you picture vampires like Bram Stoker's Dracula or Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil Village? As someone from Transylvania who loves learning about different myths, I can tell you that your idea of Romanian mythology is probably wrong. So let me show you a different side of the myths of my country and get ready to be surprised, amazed and shocked. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In case you're new here, hi, I'm Anna, the Transylvanian villager, and I make videos about random topics related to Central and Eastern Europe because I feel like there's not enough content about it online. So if you're into that, smash that subscribe button and tickle the little notification bell. I often get comments and DMs from my subscribers who didn't realize that I'm still making content because the YouTube algorithm hates me and refuses to send notifications or show my videos on their feeds. I still post long form videos once a month and a few shorts every week depending on my time. Hopefully, if you leave a like and a comment or share my video, the algorithm will put me back on your feed. You just have to occasionally remind them that you're still interested in my content. But enough about me complaining, and let's talk about Romanian mythology using some creepy AI-generated images and this Romanian card game as our visual guide. Mythology refers to studying and gathering stories which serve as sacred narratives explaining the world's origin or mankind's existence, often conveying religious experiences and moral teachings. Myths can manifest as true representations, allegories, or explanations for rituals, shaping cultural ideologies used to define cultural worldviews and explain natural phenomena. In many cultures, including Romania's, traditional tales like myths, legends, and folktales are integral to folklore, reflecting societal beliefs and practices, showcasing what our ancestors believed in and how they lived. So, without further ado, let's dissect this topic. Romanian mythology comprises a rich tapestry of symbols, characters, and traditions passed down through fairy tales, legends, and oral storytelling, focusing on themes like love, faith, magic, and moral dilemmas. These traditions have been sustained not only through stories but also through activities such as carving, ceramics, dance, and music, as well as seasonal customs like the bear dance, the goat dance, and gifting mercy shore to women in spring. Originating from the ancient pre-Christian culture of the region, Romanian mythology has evolved over time, assimilating elements from Christianity, the ancient Thracian, Roman, ancient Greek, Slavic, and Germanic influences. Romania's diverse landscape spans multiple cultural zones, where the interplay of neighboring influences intricately shapes our traditions. Due to this, folk narratives vary from region to region, presenting slightly different versions of our tales, which are usually centered around heroes overcoming adversities with the help of enchanted animals, plants, and natural phenomena, which are used as metaphors for human traits and challenges. Supernatural characters range from malevolent entities like the Zmeu to benevolent beings like the Ursitoare. Evil creatures often emerge as consequences of wrongdoings, which led to the superstitions aimed at averting transformation into evil entities like the Strigois and Vurcolax. Also, Muma Puduri, the mother of the forest, serves as a figure who punishes those who disrespect nature. Romanian legends and fairy tales are usually wholesome and captivating, like the story of the architect Meșterul Manole, who captivated his pregnant wife and built her into the walls of a cathedral to keep it steady with human sacrifice. Basically, he is forced into committing this crime in a narrative which symbolizes the sad reality that remarkable achievements can only be reached with personal sacrifice. Romanian mythology also grapples with fundamental questions about the creation of the world, the origins of humanity, and the existence of God, offering unique perspectives on these existential inquiries. So let's talk about them. In Romanian mythology, before Earth's creation, there was an endless ocean known as Apa Sâmbetei or Saturday's Water, where God resided. In my village, Saturday's Water has a completely different meaning, so if it was that kind of ocean, that explains a lot about our people. Apa Sâmbetei also refers to the river or waters that separate the world of the living and the afterlife. Some tales suggest that God's creation of the world was assisted by animals while the devil attempted to hinder his plans. Despite the Christian influence, other tales include Mother Earth as a divine entity accompanying God, the Heavenly Father, and the creation itself is explained as Mother Earth giving birth to the world in response to God's desire to sustain life. A recurring theme in these tales is the origin of God and questioning whether there was another creator before him, and the God who created that God, and so on. Trees hold a spiritual significance, depicted as living entities fostering harmony between humanity and nature, which are often mentioned in folk songs and customs. Each cultural region assigns significance to different tree types, with southern Romania having a related tradition associated with death. Given that death isn't seen as the end but as a journey to the afterlife, trees are used to aid this transition, so in the past when a young boy or girl passed away before they were wed, their beloved ones gave them the opportunity to get married posthumously, making sure they would not return as evil spirits to take a bride or a groom. In some regions, this beloved was represented by a fir tree, which was decorated by sweets and ribbons. Iconic funeral songs emerged from this tradition, often sung by young girls while decorating trees. Bradule, bradule, Romanian folklore also describes an intermediate realm between life and death, inhabited by blazhins, who are anthropomorphic beings with gentle souls, sometimes described with rat-like features, who live a sinless life. They are tied to the tradition of Paștele Blajinilor or Paștele Morților, meaning the Easter of the blazhins or Easter of the Dead, which is celebrated in the historical region of Moldavia, where they honor the dead by organizing a feast in the cemetery after Easter and leave red Easter eggs or eggshells in water, which is believed to reach the blazhins through Saturday's water to notify them about the passing of Easter. Their origins are explained through Christian-influenced narratives, some depicting them as descendants of Adam's son, Seth, or the people who got trapped when Moses parted the sea. End times are symbolized by eclipses, comets, earthquakes, floods, and collapsing mountains, often attributed to humanity's lack of faith or the Earth's reaction to human unruliness. The apocalypse is portrayed with the sun turning dark, the moon bleeding, stars falling, flames engulfing the earth and sky, and winds scattering humanity's ashes to cleanse the earth of sin so that the creator can descend and walk on it. Now that we established how the world is depicted in Romanian mythology, let's discover the characters and creatures which exist and thrive in this universe. Romanian folktales are often centered around the struggle between good and evil, featuring the classic hero Făt Frumos, or Prince Charming, fighting against the dragon-like antagonist Zmeu. On his quest, Făt Frumos encounters a diverse array of characters, ranging from allies to adversaries, each influencing his journey, and he manages to withstand being corrupted by evil forces, unlike the members of our parliament. These characters often blur moral lines, transitioning between roles of good and evil, and occasionally the hero manages to negotiate with evil forces, otherwise they have to fight the antagonist with the use of magical objects and the help of enchanted animal companions. Făt Frumos embodies the virtues of courage, purity and justice, going on different quests and facing moral dilemmas with skill and fairness. His stories often revolve around the topics of physical and emotional resilience, love, passion, and staying true to promises. His quests are similar to the 12 labors of Hercules in Greek mythology, which includes slaying or capturing mythical beasts and obtaining enchanted artifacts. Although these tasks might seem impossible at first, the charm and purity of Făt Frumos helps him gain new allies, especially magical creatures, throughout his journey who help him achieve his goals. According to Romanian mythologists, the journey and battles of Făt Frumos are kind of a representation of the way Romanians faced adversities throughout history. And this makes me think of examples such as Vlad Țepeș fighting against the Ottomans, the 1989 revolution against communism, the 2017 anti-corruption protests, and my uphill battle against the YouTube algorithm's plan to exterminate my channel. The female counterpart of Făt Frumos is Ileana Cosenziana, a royal maiden with magical abilities, symbolizing the regenerative power of nature. She is often portrayed as the damsel in distress who needs to be rescued by Făt Frumos from the clutches of evil creatures, but in some stories she has her own agency. She is the representation of feminine beauty and grace, described with features resembling celestial wonders, possessing eyes like the sun, sun, a body reminiscent of the sea, and garments woven from flowers with pearls and gold flowing from her voice. Her magical powers are only used for healing and restoration, embodying the essence of human perfection and angelic purity. Characters similar to her exist in Albanian mythology, known as Bucura e Deut, meaning the beauty of the earth, and Tünder Ilona from Hungarian folklore. Tezmeu is the main enemy of Fötfrumos, described as a humanoid creature with supernatural powers, symbolizing both the forces of nature and the misuse of power for evil ends, and the eternal struggle between nature's forces and humanity's darker impulses. He is usually imagined as a giant with supernatural powers and the embodiment of evil, but in some cases he can appear as a dragon similar to Zmej Gorenis from Slavic mythology. He is often depicted flying, breathing flames, changing shapes, and wielding artifacts or weapons that represent malevolent power. He is notorious for his desires to wed young maidens, which leads to kidnapping princesses. In many stories, his victim of kidnapping is Ileana Cosânziana. In other tales, however, he just perpetuates Romanian stereotypes by stealing treasures. Thankfully, he is always defeated by the hero. Muma Pădurii, or the Mother of the Forest, is the protector of the forests and nature, with magical powers, portrayed as an old lady with white hair and deep wrinkles, wearing a long black dress and carrying a cane or magical staff. She can use magic to influence the weather, create or heal plants, and talk to animals in order to maintain the balance between nature and humanity. In most stories, she is portrayed as a source of wisdom who is sought out by heroes for advice and help, but in others, she is the main antagonist. She is feared and respected because she can punish people who hurt nature by turning them into wild animals and sending them to dangerous parts of the forest. According to ethnographers, her stories were used to remind people about the importance of protecting nature. In Eastern European mythology, old women named Baba play an important role, often depicted with malicious characteristics, which possibly stems from people's fear of aging. In Slavic mythology, this type of character is called Baba Yaga, while in Hungarian folktales, her name is Vasaru Baba, meaning iron nose hag. Romanian mythology has several different depictions of a Baba, some having magical powers and some being regular humans. The Transylvanian Baba Clanța is an evil, immortal, ugly old hag with long teeth who steals the souls of unbaptized children, and in some stories, she is even described as the mother of some other evil creatures. Baba Dokia is a more interesting one, and her adventures usually start with her being mean to someone, and they end with her being in one story, after she was mean to her daughter-in-law, in the beginning of March, she got tricked by God or a saint to believe that it is already summer, so she decided to take her herds to the mountains wearing 12 sheepskin coats. As the days got warmer and warmer, she started taking them off one by one until she was left without a coat. A few days later, the weather suddenly changed for the worse and she froze to death, turning into a stone. Some say that she comes back every year to haunt people, causing sudden frosts during March. A Solomonar is a powerful magician who is believed to control rain, thunder, and hailstorms, as well as riding dragons. He is usually described as tall and red-haired, wearing a long robe and carrying objects that can aid him in summoning the wind. According to some stories, Solomonars have the ability to communicate with animals, and they usually carry a magic bag containing an iron axe for controlling the lightnings, a magic whip, and a book of wisdom. They learn their abilities at an underground magic school, and after they graduate, they can manipulate the weather and ride dragons.
Wait a minute!
Did I just describe the entire plot of the Kingkiller Chronicle? Well, in some stories, the Solomonar is definitely more evil than Quote from the Kingkiller, cause he sometimes even assists the devil in his evil deeds. But in other times, he begs for alms and throws the coins into rivers as offerings to water spirits. In short, they are a reflection of a complex interplay of magic, weather control, and societal justice in Romanian folklore. Also, I need to have a word with Patrick Rothfuss about his sources of inspiration. Aside from humanoid characters, some real and fictional animals also play a major role in our stories. Similarly to the folklore of the surrounding countries, in our folktales, horses, wolves, bears, and snakes play significant roles, but a more unique one is the oxen, which is also referenced in the Transylvanian ritual of crowning oxen with flowers to welcome spring. Plants like basil hold a symbolic significance, and it is believed to possess magical properties, leading to customs like placing basil branches under pillows to dream about future spouses. Not to mention its magical power in the kitchen. I put that thing in almost every meal I cook, and it makes my cooking a million times better. Across various mythologies including Greek, Scandinavian, Kartvelian, Slavic and Hungarian, the fantastic horse appears as an important sidekick or a moral guide for the hero, like Pegasus in Hercules or Roach in The Witcher. In Romanian folklore, this horse appears dormant until fed with amber, then it reveals its magical abilities such as flying. Typically, this horse aids the hero with intellectual and physical tasks, possessing multiple magical objects hidden behind his ear. His functions extend to transportation, battle support, and strategic maneuvering as a steadfast ally to the hero. The bear holds a complex role in folk culture, embodying healing and protection, but also representing mischief and destruction. Anthropologically, the bear's prestige stems from its resemblance to humans, often portrayed as a white counterpart of mankind. Stories frequently depict humans transforming into bears as a symbol of punishment for greed, and the bear's mythological significance also lies in its association with the changing seasons and its role in regulating natural cycles, reflected in tales where it possesses powers of healing, protection, and foresight. This led to the traditions of using the bear's awakening from hibernation to predict the upcoming weather and dancing in bear costumes during New Year's celebration. Despite how cute they may appear in these tales and traditions, I need to remind my dear viewers that if you come to Transylvania, stop playing with our bears, please. They cause enough tourist casualties already, and there's a reason why the Hungarian-speaking dwellers of eastern Transylvania have the popular saying, "A medve nem játék." In the past, Romanians believed that goats could predict weather patterns, and this belief is credited as the origin of Romania's famous goat dance, an ancient tradition symbolizing fertility and prosperity, celebrated as a joyous occasion for New Year's, good wishes, and celebration. In the 19th century, the Orthodox Church attempted to ban this tradition due to its pagan roots. However, the tradition survived and is still practiced today. In Celtic and Indo-European cultures, the deer represents a solar symbol, with the snake as its mortal enemy, symbolizing darkness. In Romanian mythology, the deer symbolizes kindness, purity, and honor, serving as a guide to the world beyond. In some tales, deers appear adorned with precious stones and a deadly gaze. Tales like this also include imaginary magical animals, such as the Scriptor, which is a magical bird of colossal size, which helps the hero return home from his quest as a reward for him saving its offsprings from being swallowed by a dragon or a giant snake. In other interpretations, the word Scriptoica actually refers to a ship which takes the hero back to his homeland from his adventures. Although most tales revolve around characters that are pretty close to reality, people these days seem to be more interested in the stories about creepy monsters and supernatural creatures. In recent decades, video games which allow the player to face mythical monsters have gained a massive popularity. The most famous one is The Witcher 3, which allows people to discover the scariest elements of Slavic mythology firsthand. Resident Evil Village attempted to do something similar with Romanian mythology, but it didn't turn out quite as well as it could have given the amazing source material. So what could have been portrayed better? Romanian mythology has a wide array of mythical beasts, similar to the giants, ogres, and dragons of other mythologies, as well as undead or restless spirits risen from the grave, similar to ghosts and vampires, and humans who can turn into beasts like werewolves. There are also some unique ones which are truly horrifying, and they only exist to terrorize vulnerable victims. Believing in these creatures led to the birth of a few totally normal cultural practices, like throwing a rooster across a freshly dug grave, because it is believed that roosters can chase away the evil spirits. And in some southern regions, when a bad person passed away, to make sure they wouldn't turn into an undead creature, people would pass around the big black rooster over the dead body. I tried to look up some videos for this custom online, but my search results led me into a different direction. Many folklore creatures serve as explanations for natural phenomena that people could not understand at the time due to the lack of scientific discoveries, while other characters were created as effigies of various human traits and virtues. The Uriash, which literally translates as giant, is a creature with a human face, a large strong stature, and it's taller than several people combined. In some stories they have 3 eyes, in others they have 1, just like a cyclops in Greek mythology. They are also able to grasp the pillars of the sky with their hands, and often they are depicted feeding on human flesh. There are a handful of stories in which the child of an uriash brings home a man with a plow and oxen in his palm like toys, which leads to his parents describing to him how those tiny creatures known as humans actually defeated the giants. The Kapkaun is an ogre-like creature capable of shape-shifting into various animals, and in many tales they are depicted with 2 heads or a dog's head on a human body. According to legends, they are fierce, solitary creatures living in dark dwellings, devoid of life, which are only inhabited by sinister creatures, ready to attack any trespasser, so basically they are like me and my cat. They are notorious for kidnapping princesses, eating children, and proving difficult to defeat. Unlike in tales about the fight against the Zmeu, in some rare stories the hero is actually unable to defeat the Kapkaun and loses the fight. These creatures have appeared in various mythologies worldwide, embodying malevolence, often depicted as immensely strong beings with an insatiable appetite for human flesh and destruction, yet their origins are still unknown and debated. The Balaur is a colossal creature, often depicted as a snake with wings, legs, and multiple heads, symbolizing evil in fairy tales. They are similar to the dragons of Western European tales or the Hydra of Greek mythology, meaning that they can breathe fire, kidnap princesses, and terrorize villagers. The Balaur is portrayed with diverse appearances across different regions, often associated with hidden treasures or demonic forces. In some tales, the Balaur's transformation from a snake to a winged beast occurs over a period of 7 or 12 years, during which it remains invisible and untouchable. Throughout history, dragon-like creatures gained a significant role in Christian legends, symbolizing the triumph of good over evil, such as the tale of Saint George and the dragon, which was possibly used as an inspiration for some of the stories about the Balaur. The Vurkolak is a mythical creature or demon, usually portrayed as a canine or a dragon who eats the sun and the moon, creating the phases of the eclipse. They transform from human form into a beast during the eclipse, and if the connection between their bodies and souls gets severed during this event, they cannot turn back to human anymore. In some legends, unbaptized children, people born with abnormalities, like me, people who killed a sibling, or people who perform certain traditions incorrectly can become Vurkolaks. In other tales, any disturbance within a community can lead to the birth of one. All the stories of such creatures date back to Gatudation times. Their current name, Vlk and Dlaka, means with wolf hair in some South Slavic languages. In Romanian mythology, a stafie is the spirit of a deceased person bound to the earth, often depicted as a haunting presence in places where they once lived. They typically appear as white, smoke-like figures or manifest through stones and signs. Usually they do not harm the current inhabitants of their old living place, they only scare them. In some stories, the way to get rid of them is to pour salt on their human remains and burn them like the evil ghosts in the Supernatural series. Also, they are unable to cross a line of salt, so you can surround yourself with a salt circle to protect yourself from them. Christian Orthodox beliefs, however, claim that ghosts, phantoms, and creatures like the stafie don't actually exist, and they are just demons who take the form of a deceased person to terrorize and corrupt their living loved ones. The strigoi is a troubled spirit risen from the grave who were either the 7th child of the same sex of a family, or led a sinful life, or even died a brutal death. They can transform into an animal, become invisible, and bring bad luck to their living relatives, and they are often associated with causing droughts, stealing from livestock and crops, and bringing harm to people. The legends of some regions say that the strigoi only appears twice a year, one of those occasions being St. Andrew's Night in the 29th to the 30th of November. Legends say that on this night, evil spirits escape from the graves and roam free, wolves speak with human voices, and Vurkolaks transform into their beastly forms. There are several customs and superstitions believed to protect people on this night, such as smearing garlic on people's bodies and their surroundings. To neutralize a suspected strigoi, villagers used to perform rituals like inserting objects into the corpse's heart, aiming to confine it within its grave and prevent further mischief. Each cultural region has different bizarre beliefs about defeating strigois and making sure their loved ones did not turn into one, like burying them face down. Similarly, the Moroi are known as the spirits of the dead who leave their graves to drain energy from the living. Their characteristics vary across different accounts, with some linking their origins to the offspring of an unwanted pregnancy, an infant who died before being baptized, or being the love child of two Strigoi. Their name possibly originates from the Old Slavonic word mora, meaning nightmare, which is linked to the creature known as Mora in South Slavic mythologies and Kikimora in the East Slavic ones. In the same category, the prikolich is the transformation of certain individuals after death, often taking the form of animals like wolves and ferocious dogs. Similar to other undead creatures, the prikolich rise from graves to inflict harm upon the living, typically maintaining their appearance from their former lives. Legends suggest that particularly wicked individuals turn into these monsters in the afterlife, perpetuating their malevolent deeds. Additionally, in the realm of the living, the prikolich is associated with children born with unusual physical traits, such as tails or bumps resembling devil horns, which is something I may or may not possess. These spirits are depicted as mischievous pranksters, causing trouble and communicating with animals to disrupt daily life, reminiscent of werewolf folklore. And my least favorite one, which is by far the scariest, is the Samka, which is an evil spirit described as a large demon that appears in female form with disheveled hair growing down to her heels and small eyes that shine as brightly as the stars. Her iron hands and long nails are sharp as knitting needles or hooked like sickles, and her tongue is made of flames, not to mention that she can spit fire. This evil creature shows up every month around full moon to make infants and pregnant women sick and feed off the energy of newborn children. She can touch pregnant women as if needing them, terrifying them to the point of either instant death or lifelong crippling. Old superstitions dictate that one must hide a knife under the pillow, wear amulets, or recite special prayers as protective measures against her. In some stories, she is known by 19 names, and describing all of them on the walls of a house could prevent her from entering. Stories about her possibly stemmed from fears related to pregnancy, childbirth, and motherhood in an era when medicine wasn't as reliable as it is today. So yeah, now let's talk about something a bit less scary. Fairies are mythical beings found in European folklore, often described as anthropomorphic spirits with supernatural qualities. Their origins are theorized as being demoted angels or demons in Christian beliefs, or as deities, spirits, and dead in pagan beliefs. Different regions depict fairies differently, some as benevolent and others as malevolent figures. Romanian folktales include several fairy-like characters. Zune are similar to the Greek mythologies. Charit, the goddesses of charm, beauty, and creativity, or the Zana of Albanian folklore, who are courageous fairy-like creatures that confer their protection on warriors, as well as the Tunde from Hungarian folktales. I'm actually surprised to see similarities between my two ancestors' cultures, aside from our mutual hatred and crazy obsession with owning Transylvania. In Romanian tales, the Zune usually reside in forests, vary in appearance, size, and form, and they are capable of blending seamlessly into their environment. They appear openly, enticing travelers to follow them for aid, or covertly guiding lost souls through the woods with subtle signs. Similar characters are the Sânziene, who are tied to one of the most iconic traditions of Romania, Noaptea de Sânziene, which is the celebration of the magical midsummer night and the subsequent St. John's Day. The folk practices of this holiday include the most beautiful girls of a village dressing up in white and spending all day picking yellow flowers, called Sânziana, to braid them into wildflower wreaths. When night falls, they throw the flower crowns over houses, and whenever the crown falls, it is said that someone will die in that house, and if the crown stays on the roof of the house, then good harvest and wealth will be bestowed upon the owners. People also dance around bonfires and jump over embers for purification and health. The fairy godmothers of Romanian folklore are the Ursitare, similar to the Greek Moirai and the Croatian Vile Sugenice, who show up 3 nights after a child is born to determine the baby's future. In Transylvanian tales, the Ursitare stole water from the fountain of youth, which gave them the power to stay young forever and see the future of every living person. According to Moldavian tales, however, they live in a castle where they guard candles representing people's lives. If you want a good future for your child, you must await them with hospitality, and in different regions there are different customs of how to please them, leaving different types of foods and objects on the table or at the windows and in the baby's crib. In recent years, it became a huge trend to hire actresses dressed as ursitoare to prophesize a good future for a child at baptism parties. The Yele are supernatural beings, often depicted as seductive maidens with magical powers reminiscent of nymphs and sirens, associated with summer and fertility. They possess immortal beauty, wearing translucent garments and sometimes wings, and they are only visible at night in forests or near fountains. Their numbers vary, sometimes unlimited, sometimes limited to 7 or 3, with regional variations of their names. They are usually not considered specifically evil, but they may retaliate if they are provoked. In those cases, they dance and sing to lull victims to sleep before they punish them. People who disrespect them might suffer different diseases which can only be cured with remedies including spells, monastery visits, or avoidance during their holidays. Shtima Ape is a water deity known for controlling fresh waters, causing floods and droughts like the Naiad goddesses in Greek mythology. Her appearance is described as a beautiful woman with heel-length blue or green hair, and she transforms into a half-woman, half-fish in the water. If you anger her, she can raise rivers and lakes to flood the fields and meadows, and some regional tales depict her taking on a seductive human form to lure unsuspecting individuals to their demise. She appears in several works of Romanian literature and art, and my favorite of them all is the Transylvanian comic book Shtima Apelor by Maria Surducan and Ben Sidi Anna. So yeah, those are the fairy-like creatures of Romanian mythology. In conclusion, Romanian mythology emerges as a vibrant tapestry woven from centuries of storytelling, cultural practices, and diverse influences. From its roots in ancient pre-Christian cultures to its evolution amidst various civilizations, Romanian mythology reflects a complex interplay of traditions and beliefs. Despite variations across different regions, folk narratives consistently explore themes of heroism, morality, and the struggle between good and evil, offering profound insights into the human experience. Through its rich tapestry of symbols and stories, Romanian mythology invites contemplation of fundamental existential questions, making it a fascinating and enduring aspect of cultural heritage. Given the stunning and beautiful nature of Romanian mythology, I wish that people saw this side of our folklore instead of associating it with the lazy work of Bram Stoker, who started the misconception of Romania's association with vampires, which technically don't even exist in our folklore. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, or the Coppertic Owl will greet you. Thanks for tuning in and have a nice day.